Okay, so people are general beginners. That's cool. Tiny bit of background about me without boring the pants off you. So I started before I ran a healing center. When I just discovered healing and all that kind of stuff, I ran 12 or 13 restaurants for Whitbread. So I had a few thousand staff. Um, very into process and systems. Decided doing healing was much more interesting. So I started about 1996. I can't remember now. Opened up a healing center, did that for 10 years, and basically just learned how to market my healing online, really, when Google's was right in its infancy. From there, other people asked me to do stuff. I grew a marketing agency, mainly because the children are fairly young and I could do that on my own time, all that kind of stuff. So I ended up I still have uh, a system funnel building business. I still help other people. I'm the tail end of that because I'm kind of slowing that down. I have and do run advertising for everything from museums, the Jack the Ripper Museum in London, of all things, right? It's because my ex-wife runs it. Um, and we still go on well. And so everything from that to spending 6, 7 grand a day on Facebook, doing ads for a company that I helped grow, and we were doing about 4 million a year dollars, something along those kind of lines. So everything for that in between to helping people just get going, essentially. So the idea of this is to help people create, doing stuff that they really enjoy without the overwhelm. Because nobody here wants to be a marketer. All right. I understand that. Okay. I don't want to be, I mean, for me, marketing's incredibly boring as well. I don't want to be a marketer either. However, I love the results of it. The results are amazing. The lifestyle can be amazing when you keep things really focused. And so there's a discipline to all this that combines the business owner's belief system, which is kind of part 50% of it, and the other part is the marketing systems. And the marketing systems exist. We can use that. If you had enough money, getting 20,000 people a day to your business is not a problem. That's called paid advertising. So that's not an issue. The issue is making it profitable. So what we want to do is go through step by step. I'm just going to tell you the agenda. There's a bit of work to do, and it's interactive, right? So ask questions. But one of the reasons that we want to get online is because we want to do the thing that we enjoy, and that is a bit of an Achilles heel for a lot of people, because what they don't do is they don't try and sell what people want to buy, and they're two completely different things. So if I was wanting to make a lifestyle business selling buttons, and I insisted on selling buttons to everyone up and down this street, only pink buttons, of course, or blue buttons or whatever, I wouldn't make a lot of money. I'd make no money. So selling what we want is great, but it comes with a caveat in that whatever we know about the nature of reality and whatever we think about it, the bottom line is somebody has to put their hand in their pocket. They have to transfer money to your bank account, feeling as though there's more value to do that than keeping the money in their pocket. Yeah. So we have to respect that. So as much as we understand that our beliefs are the driving force of the business, they are. And that's a system we have to respect and use. The other system is the technology that we have to respect and use as well. So it's always a combination of both. So I've done work fairly recently. I'm not really doing it after this year, but where somebody will come up with an idea and I'll build their whole system. And I've done that so many times for people who eventually stop that business, even with all the investment and everything, because they have zero self-worth. They don't feel they deserve to be abundant. On the other side, I've created other businesses for people, and very quickly, and they've made a lot of money because they believe in what they're doing. They understand that people want to buy solutions to things or stuff they're interested in, and so they've made a lot more money. I have been bankrupt 1,000 years ago trying to sell stuff that nobody wanted to buy. That wasn't fun, but it was a good old lesson. That was a combination of my lack of self-worth or around money in particular, and also trying to sell stuff that people didn't want to buy. So, hard lessons, but fundamentally, if you want to start a business is something that should make money. And a lot of people say, oh, I really do want to make money, whilst also saying, I'm terrified of money. I don't know what to do with it. I'm a bit, I'm a bit overwhelmed by the idea of making money. So it's a combination of those two elements that we're going to talk about this evening. Okay. Does that sound okay? So two systems that help you create the
Sure.
life that you want. I would firstly say, and if you have any questions, pop them in. Firstly, say there's no limit to the amount of money that you can make. There's no limit to the amount of money in the world. Money's just an idea. It's just a number. It has no real value except the value that we as humans place upon it. So what I would say is that a business should make money, but money by its very nature is intrinsic, and it's really about your beliefs. You can earn five. I work with people that say I can't charge more than £100 an hour, right? But I've also worked with people and we were making 4 million. And the only difference is the belief system and the ambitions of the business owner. So, yeah, the systems are exactly the same. Okay. So you have to be willing to make money, which I know that sounds maybe fairly obvious. But you have to be willing to make money. A lot of people in the personal growth or the spiritual growth industry, one of the things they say is, I don't really, Tina's still trying to get in. Come on, Tina, you can do it. She'll clap her if she ever arrives in. Right. So a lot of people say, I don't want to do it for making money. And my advice to you is that is suicide to a business. It's absolute suicide, because you have to recognize that a business, if it's a business, not a hobby, it's supposed to make money. That's what it's designed for. So be willing to make money from it, but obviously be willing to be fair. I'm sure we're all nice people here. So, nobody's going to try and rip anybody off or anything along those kind of lines. But ambition builds belief in yourself. Ambition and the idea that you can earn maybe 3 grand a month, 5 grand a month, 10 grand a month, 100 grand a month. It's the same system, different ambitions, and a slightly different approach to how we're going to do it. Maybe you're selling different things. So that's the first thing to say. That's an internal thing. A lot of people will try to have a business and be scared of money. Okay, you need to deal with that shit as soon as you possibly can. I mean, I was exactly the same, obviously. So here we're going to have a look at where we are in terms of AI also, because that's a cultural phenomenon as well. And right now, the fact that AI is in our world is really good on one hand, and it's really challenging on another. The challenging thing is that when I, was making courses and selling products and services over the last 20 years or so, products and information was valuable, and now information is not valuable, because anyone can go, even with Google, it was valuable. Now it's not valuable at all. Whether AI gets it right or not doesn't really matter. Nobody values information in terms of paying for it. So we have to accept that, recognize that's part of the development of where we're at. Excuse me. And so, okay, well, what do people value? What they value is experience. And that's where, in the personal development world, or if you've been doing things for a while, that's where your superpower is. Your superpower is your, people say it's your story. It's not really your story as such. It's your experience and your ability to share that experience. And you don't need a huge audience. Maybe, I don't know if anyone's heard of 1,000 raving fans. You need 100 people to pay you £1,000 a year, or 1,000 people to pay you £100 a year, dollars, whatever. That's a 100 grand business. Okay. So you don't need a huge audience. What you need is, what we're going to go through, is certain things in order. You need to understand what marketing is, why you're doing it, what's the purpose of it, before you even write any kind of post or whatever, because frankly, social media, I'd rather put pins in my eyes than go on LinkedIn ever again. I mean, it's awful. I don't have Facebook on my phone or Instagram or anything like that. They're just, why would anybody, frankly, unless there's a particular purpose. And if there's a purpose, that's great, but you've got to know why you're doing it, first of all. So the opportunity that you have is that you have an experience that nobody else has. Yeah. Now that gets developed into a story, but you have an experience that nobody else has in the world, ever has or ever will. And it's your willingness to leverage that is the most important thing. Yeah. So what I want to get across in this training is the goal is the category of one. Okay. Because marketing, I don't know if anybody feels overwhelmed by marketing, but it's easy to do. But the category of one is the simplest approach to making money. And it's the way that makes the most money, the quickest, if you like. So it's the alignment of you, your uniqueness with the business, and therefore out of the end should pop out the lifestyle and the money that you want. Okay, that's the goal. And like I say, if you are able to apply yourself and if you're able to follow processes and be disciplined, and a lot of people are, frankly, then there's no reason why you shouldn't be financially free at all, at all. So a lot of this is really about understanding that you need to create, and I've got something for you to fill out or to think about, we can explore it, is a unique brand voice. Okay, sounds a bit deep, maybe brand, but that's what it is. When I do YouTube videos or if I'm doing anything, what I ask myself is, if somebody looks at this, do they know it's me? Does the video show me in a unique way? And that's why I'm very happy to criticize, challenge people, the great spiritual teachers, the spiritual teachers, right? Because half of what they talk about is nonsense. Okay. Now, because of my experience coming in, then I'm able to pick that apart. And that's a unique thing that I do. I don't knock them, it's more the theories. So when somebody looks at what I'm doing, what they look at on my 3 videos a week on YouTube, and we'll get into that, could be anything at all, is, does it represent me? Could only I voice that in some way? And it might be the willingness to say stuff other people don't want to say. It might be the willingness to explain things in a particular way. But what you have to realize is, because the age of information is over, you need to think about what voice can you put into the world, which is in its own way a very spiritual thing to do. What's your own voice that you could put into the world, maybe that you've been afraid to put in? Certainly in the spiritual world, a lot of people are going, yeah, man, everything's gorgeous. Everything's absolutely fantastic. It's really good. And, I've been in this industry for absolutely, 30 years or so, and it's absolutely not, So the key is you've got to find your voice. So one voice, so that whenever you write something, whenever you say something, eventually over time, people can look at your stuff and say, I know who that is. I know what that person stands for. I know what they mean. I may not agree with it, but this is what this person says. From there, then you have one system. My system, as I'll show you, is YouTube I've got a funnel building, a marketing building system, into that system, using emails, inviting people for chats. And then if they're interested in taking it further, they can. And if not, that's cool. There are a billion people in the world. It's no stress. So that's the system. So it's one voice, one system. And the next thing is you need, and the third one, which is just tell you a very quick story, is that a marketing professor, whether this is true or not, doesn't really matter. It's a good story, right? Who lets the truth get in the way of a good story? No, that a marketing professor was doing this thing in university, and he asked his students, what do you need? You know, what creates an amazing business? And they all went, well, the marketing funnel or the email, or that, you know, they got into, you know, Tina's still trying to get in. Are you in, Tina? Come on. Tina's in. Congratulations, Tina. That was harder than it should have been. Right. I hope you enjoyed it. So this professor asked everybody, he said, what makes an amazing business? And they went around all this technical stuff. And he said, no, it's none of that. It's a starving crowd. So what's a starving crowd? A starving crowd is people who want to buy your stuff. People who really want to buy your stuff. If you were to open a bakery, you want people who are hungry. If you're going to, you know, start a personal development business, you want people who want personal development, you know, in a brand new way. If you're going to do, I don't know anything about construction, Matt, but if you're going to teach people how to build walls, I don't know if you do that, but whatever it be, right? You want a group of people who are desperate to learn how to do the thing that you're selling, to do the thing that you and only you can do. And that's the key. That's the key to making 100 grand a year. Is you have your own unique voice, which needs developing, your own offer, and you can all do it. Whether it could be playing the guitar, it could be doing this, it could be teaching marketing, it could be anything, upholstering furniture, it could be anything, makes no difference. Humans are humans, they want to know stuff, and they want to trust the person that's teaching them. So one voice that's different in the world, one system, so that marketing isn't overwhelming, because we'd all rather shoot ourselves and do marketing, mostly, unless somebody here loves marketing. And then you're feeding one starving crowd. That's it. That is the license to have the lifestyle that you want, to work very little and make the money that you want. You know, spend time with your family, all the stuff I was able to do. So does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense. You can either voice it or you can put it in the comments. Let me know if that offends anyone also. Some people go, oh my God, that sounds a bit, you know, a starving crowd or whatever. Let me know what you think about that. So I'm not just talking to myself into a screen. Okay, how would you your own voice? Well, your own voice would be your experience, Mark, and your enthusiasm. That would be your own voice, and your willingness to maybe go deeper than other people. You know, put yourself on the block a little bit. You know, maybe say that someone like Abraham Hicks isn't really channeling all that kind of stuff, or she nicked it all from Seth. You know, which she did. You know, being willing, being willing, being willing to shove it out there a bit, right, and be honest. You know, yeah. All right, cool. So the question then is, let's talk about marketing before I get to an exercise, which is, and I'd like some verbal communication here, which is, what is marketing? Because if you're gonna want a business, you're gonna have to be involved in marketing. What is marketing?
Getting the message out to as many people as could potentially be interested in your product.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you. Anybody else? What else do we do? What any other thoughts on what marketing is?
Advertising, basically, right?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. What do you think? I mean, yeah, it's another term for it, but what is it? I get it's advertising, sure, but what is it?
One thing that struck me is your audience,
In what way?
the people you're aiming to sell to, if you like.
Okay. So marketing,
And identify the audience.
yeah.
Maybe.
Okay, yeah, cool. Anything else?
Getting people to know, getting people to want what you've got to sell.
Yeah, getting people to want what you want to get them to buy, get them to want it. Yeah, that's quite tricky. I mean, Steve Jobs was pretty good at that. But yeah, okay, yeah. So but what's the purpose of it? What's the purpose of it? Is there another purpose, do you think? Very human purpose to marketing.
I like to say that marketing is convincing people to be helped. To do what's good for them, literally. It's like selling them a story that will help them.
Okay, so marketing is convincing in some way, shape, or form. That's a tricky one. If I were to say what marketing is, I mean, I could agree with all of you, right? Marketing is building trust.
Yeah.
That's really it. It's the only objective of marketing in its many forms. Fundamentally, what you're trying to everything that you do falls, on the sword of whether they trust you or not. So if you ever think about what marketing is, so a lot of people saying, marketing is, I'm not saying you guys here, but marketing is like paid advertising. But paid advertising without trust is just throwing money away. Social media without trust is a waste of time. It's very boring. It's like throwing your intention into an echo box and nothing comes back. Everything you do in terms of marketing as a function, the top level purpose of marketing is to build trust with an audience. That's really it. And so if we think about the reason I like YouTube, the reason I like workshops, and the reason I spending time with people is if we think about it, if somebody's going to, I mean, how do we trust people? We don't trust people that are not like us. We don't trust people who try to sell us stuff too quickly. I mean, who likes to be sold to? Nobody. Who likes selling? Nobody. So, marketing is marketing system of transferring enthusiasm from seller to buyer. Yeah, that's a process of trust building. Yeah. But if I could say to you anything that you could do in terms of marketing, in terms of maybe stuff you write to people, i.e. emails, or stuff you have on your sales page, or if you're doing videos, what you want to do is you want people to look at you and say, I wouldn't mind spending time with that person. And that's really a starting point for it. You want people to be open to a relationship with you that is, I would suggest, healthy, natural, human, grounded, interesting. And if you look at your marketing, so every time you do a post, every time you do a video, you go, does this cause the audience, somebody in the world, does it cause them to trust me more maybe than they did before? And if you approach it like that, you can't go too far wrong. Now, involved within that is things like stories, they're pure advertising, doing Facebook ads or whatever it would be. But they all need to be built around the idea of spending time, because we trust people that we spend time with. If you think about last time you bought a car maybe, or something really expensive, you probably liked the person that you bought it from. I'm not talking about $1,000. I'm talking about $5,000, $10,000, I don't know, whatever it would be, a car maybe. Generally, the best salespeople don't try and sell you anything, but they do create a sense of trust in the relationship. So it takes, in terms of data, right, which you kind of go with, if somebody's looking for what you're selling, once we define what that is, it's normal, on average, about 20 days before they buy. So if somebody goes onto Google and they want to buy some kind of course or some kind of product or whatever, within 20 days, they're going to buy it from somebody. And so the key is, how do you create a lifestyle and an income and a business that you really enjoy, doing what you love, and be in the game within those 20 days for people? And the key is trust. That's the key. So the unique brand voice, just let somebody in. So the unique kind of brand voice, and brand, maybe not brand's a great term, but your unique voice that in the world, the you of you, the tone of you, has to be disciplined in what you say. So even if you are selling locks, right? Your ability to talk about safety and to really feel as though that's important and to get that across to people will mean that you can sell as many locks as you like, even if you're not a locksmith. I mean, you could, and I know people who can sell anything and make a lot of money because the formula is the same. What we want to do is we want a purpose-driven business where we actually feel as though there's value happening without getting overwhelmed and annoyed and fed up and giving up, which is what kind of most people do. Okay. So the question is, I'll just put it out to you now, which is, what do you think you've got? And I want to mean, or you're willing to do in order to, I don't mean in a bad way, what that you're willing to do in order to create that unique voice. What I'm willing to do is criticize any spiritual teacher that there is in a constructive way and say, well, hang on a minute, why don't we look at it this way? I'm also very happy to promote the Seth material. I'm also very happy to challenge any thinking if it's valid or not. It's, I'm cool with that, So, but I'm also not a dickhead about it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not having to go with that person about it, if you like. So that is unique in terms of the spiritual thing. And I can only do that because I've been doing it since 1997, because what I say makes sense. So that's why from about Christmas this year, kind of launched it onto YouTube, maybe November, that type of thing, had 2,000 views. It's now up at 480,000 views. And the upshot of that is $3,000 a month. I think 16 grand in the first month, all on automation. And that just keeps rolling. So that hasn't been immediate because I've had to find my voice more and more and find what works. And because of the one voice, I have one system that people come through. Managing that means that in 6 months, there's a very nice income coming in on automation. But it is 100% because I am looking for a very specific person who wants actual results and who actually, is willing to put the work in. So I'm a terrible coach. I'm an awful coach. So I get bored, right? But I'm a great mentor. And they're two different things. So I've had to learn that over the years. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I know what works, but I don't want to have to mollycoddle people and bring them in. So some people are for me and some people aren't. And that's exactly how it should be. Some people will be for you. Some people will not be for you. So the more you state that, then the more you find your tribe, okay, people like you. And as I say, you only need 100 people to pay 1,000 a year. That's $100,000 business. And realistically, most people can live on that. So if you just have a think about, I'm just going to put this up on the screen. Well, any questions, first of all, before I get you to engage your brain cells? Any questions? No? Well, I've seen that one already. No? Clear as mud? Everyone okay? All right, let's move on. Okay. So let me find. So this is the question for you, which is about the category of one. Okay. I'm going to share the screen. Can you see that? Not that. That. Not that either. That. I mean, too many tabs open. I like my mind. All right. So here's what you need to think about. Here's category of one. Okay. I want you to think about. So the question would be, what could you create in the market that only you can create? Grab a bit of paper or not? But that's the question. That's the question. Because what that does is that moves you away from the information industry. So when people look at you, They know that you do have a uniqueness. You are able to express yourself. And I will say that the more firmly, I don't mean in a horrible way, the more firmly you express yourself, the better off you'll be. Because there's a general unwillingness in lots of areas. And this has worked. I work with somebody who's doing training women how to breastfeed. I work with people in a $4 million business running all their marketing for them. And I've worked with somebody who does running and teaches running. And it's all the same stuff. It's all the same stuff. So what do you think? And anyone brave enough to shout out, please do. What do you think? It can't come across as arrogant. What can you do that only you could say? So Mark, for example, only because we had a chat the other day, if you're doing the Seth stuff, you could say it might be unique that you studied it for however many years. Do you know what I mean? That you've got the connections you've got, or whatever it would be. But there has to be something about you. There's a nice phrase which is there always has to be a Buddha in the room, right? Which is that if you want to sell anything or you want somebody to buy something, if you don't have a name, then maybe you can use. So, for instance, a lot of people do marketing and they say that they're Tony Robbins instructors. So Tony Robbins is the Buddha in the room. These people might only just started coaching. They might be terrible, but Tony Robbins is the Buddha in the room. If somebody's teaching Reiki and they're just starting out, they've got no name or no experience, they say, oh, I'm teaching Mikhail Yasui's system, right? That's the Buddha in the room. Yeah. So it might be, Mark, that for you, it's Seth is the Buddha in the room when you first start out. But there's got to be something absolutely unique that you can say. It might be a market that nobody else is talking about, or it might be that nobody else is saying how awful it is or how good it is. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so what have you got? What have you got, people? I know you weren't expecting this, though. I'm not expecting too much. But think about it. What have you got? Particularly if you want to start fast. Was that Jane? Did I get the name right?
Yeah, I can talk about my thing. I've been so I live in Eastern Europe, and I've noticed that the SEO of real estate website was quite terrible.
Yeah.
And so now I'm partnering with a real estate agent here, and I generate leads through a website because no one is actively targeting foreigners in this country, like in English, on the SEO. So that's my niche. That's kind of like my blue ocean.
Okay. So what makes you unique, though? I mean,
Oh,
obviously
it's my
obviously
it's
you're
my
going to have to you're going to have to provide the leads. We're just going to say that you are able to do that.
yeah.
But what else?
Well, in my end, I do the work of an agency just by myself. I use a lot of Claude and Claude Desktop and N8N, and I just build machines that basically do what a team of 10 would have done 10 years ago. And I'm learning along the way because it goes
Okay.
way beyond my head sometimes.
Okay. So the unique bit is the fact that you automate with AI. You can get
I would say it's mostly my ability to create systems. AI make it easier, but it's my ability to see how things should happen optimally and to make that happen with a lot of
Okay.
fail safes and stuff like this. Yeah, and also my ability to organize my partner, for example, has ADHD, so he's a fantastic worker, but it's very hard for him to organize himself. So I had to create the CRM and like system to keep him engaged, to keeping up on updating the leads and stuff like that. And yeah, it's working better and better. So I think one of my value is to help people just follow a process and have fun along the way to clarify their own step-by-step
Okay.
actions of the day.
Okay. What I would also invite you to think about is what else you could add to that because other people can copy you.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I know
Yeah.
you're unique and lovely and brilliant.
No, it's not that unique,
But
honestly.
but what I'm saying is that so you're using AI and Claude and that type of thing, which I do, which is cool. All I would say is that if there's something absolutely unique that nobody else in the world could offer in that market,
No,
then
definitely not. I don't have an idea
well
of
then, well then,
that.
yeah, well then maybe it's your story or something. But I would have a think about that. Like we've got to, if you can make yourself a category of one, that's what you want to do. You want to make, we all need to be a category of one in some way, shape, or form. Anyway, have a think about it. Server, is it server? Sever.
Deborah.
Sever. Apologies.
Hello, David.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Excellent. You got your hand
So-
up. You want to...
Yes, I did. So one thing that it really started to interest me in the last year, I met a fantastic person. She's my dear good friend from Romania, and we kind of played mental ping pong and became to figure out the mind mechanics.
Yeah.
And that's such a revelation, understanding that we can simplify things, and we don't have to. I've been through so many gurus: Dispenza, Proctor, Marissa Peer, a bunch of other things, Chris Duncan. So each one of them, they take the same simple principles of mind mechanics,
Yeah.
and they add to them, and they put so much bloody fluff on it that it gets to a point where just I looked like I dropped the compass in the woods, okay? And then by working together with my dear friend, we started to figure out, oh, this is fluff, this is fluff, this is fluff, this is the real thing. So we got pretty good results just by getting rid of the extra stuff from all these gurus that added up. So I think that's something that can be done pretty good. I work with other people. I got pretty good results. I'm not sure if my dear friend is on the. She actually is the one that shared the link with me to attend it. But yeah, that's one thing that I'm really focused on. And then besides that, it's also the language, the mechanic of the language, because any change that happens, it happens because of the language we speak, how we address the identity that we create through the way we define ourselves in different, like money wise, health wise, family relationships. So
yeah. I mean, it's kind of like updating NLP.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, Marissa Peer's got into problems because it's fairly obvious what she nicked from everybody. She's been challenged on that, but same with Bandler and that. But yeah, if you can update NLP, or you can offer something, because lots of people have done hypnosis. The amount of people that train in hypnosis and NLP every year is millions of people, and millions of people are still struggling because so if you could offer something and update that, then something.
Well, David, actually, thank you very much for pointing that out to me. Updating NLP, that's a brilliant idea. I never thought about it.
That's what I would do. I'd update NLP and be unashamed about it.
Yes, definitely.
Just crack on and do it, and look, show where other people are lacking. You're kind of challenging the status quo in that world, like I challenge the status quo in the spiritual. And
yes.
Yeah.
And that's why I enjoy watching your stuff on YouTube. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. More to come. We're ready to start it. Right. Anybody else? Category of one. Anybody else? Don't be afraid to speak. Yeah, Nancy.
Okay.
Nancy, carry on.
Yes, hi. I had a wish for being that all my life. I was very depressive because of my youth, and I turned it around.
Yeah.
So I stopped with my medication. I threw my certificate in the because that's not me. I am an engineer, but I threw my certificate. I threw it away with the the trash,
Yeah.
because I know why all happened in my life.
So
From
you, so your unique thing
I think, yeah,
is well, it's the helping could be, helping people, older people, maybe, no offense, older people to to change their mindset, to stop accepting that they have to take all these tablets. I mean, you'd have to be careful with that, but fundamentally, you know, um, a uniqueness can be that. So yeah, carry on, Nancy.
it's not only that, it's about the nervous system, all
Okay,
about the nervous system.
that's a
All
bit.
people who are not having a regulated autonomous nerve system cannot go in the flow in this life.
I would say that's true. So the opportunity for you then, and the nervous system, only because I know through Google and YouTube, the searches for the nervous system are about 100,000 a month. I mean,
I know
it's a
all
massive
about it.
subject.
Yes, I can tell all the things that happened in my life, why it happened,
Yeah,
and it's all logic.
yeah. And the fact that you're a mechanics, you have a mechanical way of thinking
Yes,
is interesting. I'm kind of the same way. I think in process,
yeah,
basically. However weird and wacky it seems, there's always a process to it.
yeah,
So I
that's
think
right.
so. That's your unique thing. You could package that up
Yes.
and present that in a very
Mhm.
authentic way and have a product. I mean, this is where AI is good because you could
Mhm.
create a product, where people, and a system, which we're going to get into, where a lot of that is automated after you do the initial work. So that's pretty good. Anything you can do. I was working with somebody and like women's empowerment. I wish I was a woman. Women's empowerment is great because it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and of course it's needed. So it's a natural push out,
Yeah,
and yours is a similar thing. It's natural to be healthy,
yeah.
as you get older. Um, and so yeah, stuff like that. That's great.
So I don't have fear to have no money. I had that a lot in my life, but it's gone. That there is not a lot of peace and love in me now because it
Yeah.
will happen. I know I'm on the good track.
Yeah, well, that's brilliant. And you're very authentic. So has something like that, I'm not sure if you're happy, but the idea of getting onto YouTube and doing some just structured videos, that's what YouTube's for. YouTube is for people who want to share something authentic. So that's great. Yeah,
Okay.
brilliant. I like that one. We got another one, which is Art from Within. Sharon,
Yeah, that's
uh,
me. Yeah, I'm here.
what's that about?
Oh, that was
Where have you?
fabulous listening to Nancy.
Yeah, we all want some of that. When
Yeah.
I'm only 21, so I don't need it yet, but
Well, what can I say? So throughout my life, without actually always knowing what's going on,
yeah,
I've been very visual in expressing myself through painting, and I don't even know exactly when I'm doing it, what it actually means, but it's like a way of being in touch with something, a part of myself that's non-verbal.
sure.
And then later I become aware and I think, oh, that's bloody amazing what
Yeah.
that's saying to me. But it's always later on. But the thing is, it's a thing that gives a level of kind of, how can I say, belief in myself,
Sure.
a way of being carrying on through, whether it's roles I'm playing or things that have gone, awry in life. And it's been something that sustained me.
And
Uh,
is this a business now?
well, I did use it as a tutor with people with special needs at college years
Yeah,
ago. I haven't got it as a business at the moment, but I also have done many other things that I've done. You would be fascinated. I don't know if I dare tell you the things I've been in because you've been in the spiritual movement and I'm interested. But yeah,
naked Reiki. I mean,
yeah,
I know
no,
people. I
no,
know
no,
people have
no,
done that.
no, I've not done no. No, I was with a Sufi for
I
12
haven't done that.
years, right? Alhamdulillah.
I
I
mean,
was with Sufi for 12 years. I've been with uh, some druids as well, local.
oh yeah, we've all been down the druid path. Come on, we've all
I'm
been
a
there.
nature buff, so you know,
Yeah.
I feed all the animals nature and love it.
Yeah.
And need it actually.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Um,
So can I ask, do you
yeah.
want to make a business out of this?
Well, I have to own the fact I've just actually done a year of sort of some shamanic training that I'm not fully convinced by. But I have an offer of if I can make a business for a lady who is a shaman, if I can make a business for her in my area, then we exchange for me to have the rest of the apprenticeship offered.
Ooh, that's tricky.
That's
Is
really
that tricky?
That's really tricky, isn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I hate it. I hate swaps.
Yeah.
They never work out well. Swaps should be banned across the world. You know,
I've done many, to be honest. I actually learned with a physiotherapist. I did the
yeah.
healing.
I
So
mean, kind of business swaps. So I always have been tricky. I mean, I would. So are you asking about her shape? I mean,
sorry.
I could very easily see how you could make a business out of the art.
Thank you.
Easily.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know,
Let's go with that.
you are.
Yeah. Let's go with that.
Because, it's a bit like channeling, but with art. You're tuning into your a broader nature, whatever you believe that is.
Yeah.
Call it whatever you like, all that is, and you're kind of bringing in a form of a more there's more dimensions to the art than putting the paint on, if you like.
Oh gosh,
So
yeah.
so there's no doubt in my mind that you could do. I mean, if it was me and I was, I mean, I don't have time, whatever, but if it was me, I'd be teaching on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I would be, in a very structured way. People don't like the word discipline, but it's a good one. Planning it out properly and teaching people in a structured way, because intuitively they will also tune into whatever it is that you're doing. Then I would offer them, I'd sell courses and lessons on it, either face to face or online. I could see that would work, and you've probably heard about Seth material, maybe not.
No, I haven't. No.
Okay, all right, but Robert Butts, who was the husband of Jane Roberts, who did channeling of Seth, he was an artist and was talking about and the experience of kind of multidimensional art, i.e., we're bringing in a broader aspect of ourselves, into the art. So I could, and I experienced that through writing. So that's and sometimes channeling my broader self, Aaron, my mate who's been around for all of my life, so I can see how you would do that for sure, and people would be interested. You could also probably, do let's call it intuitive art, all right, for want of a better phrase.
Yes.
Intuitive art for other people with commissions.
Oh, that's so interesting. You should say that, because when I do the distance healing, I get that.
Yeah,
exactly. I do a diagram.
Yeah. If I was doing, because there's no limit to it, obviously. So, I mean, I've done that with writing before, with people and channeling. But certainly, if people, I mean, it's a very healing thing to do. But I could easily see you making money with that. It's almost like Nancy. There's an obvious market, which is somebody over 60.
Yeah.
I know you're only 35, Nancy, but somebody over 60, who wants a more natural approach and wants somebody who's been there and done it and has the story and the proof and is willing to challenge, it's as obvious as that. So I think that's a really good one.
Thank you.
I do. Yeah, that's what I would do if I were you.
Fabulous. Thank
you.
Yeah,
interesting.
Really, really, really inspiring.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. I mean, they were, they're kind of, they're kind of itching to be done, aren't they? All these things.
Yes, yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Anybody else? Anybody else want to throw their business out so we can make it maybe a bit more unique? Because Sharon, what you put there was art from within, and which I know what you were saying, but that wouldn't sell. People wouldn't buy that, but people would buy intuitive art lessons for sure.
Sorry, thank you. Intuitive
Yeah,
art
yeah,
lessons.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. All right. Anybody else before we kind of move on to the next question?
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, thanks, David. I just
Yeah.
quickly am still struggling with this unique voice concept because I have the enthusiasm as you suggested, and
Yeah. Yeah.
that might be relevant to some kind of a business idea. But I'm trying to sense about or get a sense of where I would take that. Are you thinking to create like an online blog or like a podcast type of thing and then interviewing people or some kind of service like that?
Well, there is a few things you could. I mean, you've got to. So with all the spiritual stuff, I like the word, rigorous. Okay, you've got to be rigorous in terms of saying to people, this is about actually using the stuff, not just sitting around intellectually fawning our
Right.
egos around it, right? So that's your differentiator. What you're saying is, look, we've talked, which is what we're similar, as we know, right? We've talked about this enough, people. Come on, let's actually try and do something. And then I would pick an area within the material that you feel is the most valuable. You know what I mean? So there's a guy who does lucid dreaming, isn't there, in the Seth world?
Robert Wagner, yes.
Robert never replies to my emails. So so Robert Wagner that's his thing. He could have picked anything. So, so for me, it could be that you present it through interviews on a YouTube. I mean, I love YouTube. I think that's the way to go. It's not short term, but you can marry it with some ads or a little bit of other social media. You only want 2 social media platforms maximum until you master them, and then you might earn some money and then you pay somebody else to do it for you. But so that's what I would say. It's like, what do you feel? I mean, if I were to ask you, what do you feel most strongly is missing from the application of the Seth material? So the Seth material, if anybody knows, it's a bodywork channeled. Jane Roberts, best in the world. Go check it out. But what do you think's missing the most?
Okay. I don't have an answer for that right now. I think there is a lot that's not understood or, popular or well known about it. I mean, the maybe just clarifying or updating people with the ideas that come from it that have been attempted by other groups and maybe find something that's a little more specific. And I don't have an answer yet.
Okay, if I said you're going to die in a week, you're not, but maybe you are, right? So you're going to die in a week, and you just want to have one message to tell people about the material. Now, when you die, you're going to be outside of physical reality, quite conscious, so you'll know it's a different game. But as a human, a father, I think, if you got, I can't remember what you talked about, you know what I mean, or whatever it would be. What is the thing that you want to tell people about this stuff? And it can't be just read it, right? Because that's like,
Right.
what's the thing? For me, it's the lack of practical application of it. It's like, come on, people.
Which you've, been delivering on for years, and that's great. That's
sure.
inspiring for others. So
what would you say it is for you? That's the question. What's the burning thing that you go, I just want to tell people to do this?
Well, I think it's what you've been putting out there as well, which is basically, it's what you believe that decides what your life is. And this is, of course, what the Seth source in materials largely saying, same way. But in a bigger picture, not just like The Secret, where you're basically manifesting whatever it is you, regenerate that kind of thing, and you're thinking. It's actually making the real change, and you've done an excellent job with that in the videos that I've seen and helped to make that happen. So now I'm looking for a way to be, again, unique in some other way that takes it
Well, you don't have to be
a different
unique in
step.
another way, because we
Could be.
create our own reality. So you can, that's the message that needs to get out there, which is,
Mm-hmm.
from various people, which is, come on, let's stop talking about this stuff and actually do something. It's a bit like, we were talking about the painting. Everyone's talking about painting for 37 years, but nobody's painted a picture. Kind of go, oh, come on. You know what I mean? So there's plenty of room for people. I mean, and that's the message that needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
I would, if you were
Focus on
to,
that.
yeah,
Add
focus on
to
it,
it.
and then you'll do it in
Something.
your own unique way,
Right.
because that's what's needed.
Mm-hmm.
They also need, I think, was it Sev? So Seva was saying they also need to know how to change their beliefs and stop paying people like Marissa Peer or Richard Bandler or whatever, doing all that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? So there's things that by nature are people want. Intuitive painting. People want to stop taking tablets. People want to be found. People are terrible at lead generation, aren't they, Damien? Which is where I built my whole business from. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. So, there's plenty of room for everybody because we create our own reality.
Great.
Yeah.
No, that's
Cool.
good
Yeah.
food for thought. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else before we move on to the next question? What I want to do is have a look at process a bit more. Anybody else? I've got people up here. We've got Chris, Matt, Lindsay, Sharon, and Eve. Anybody willing? You don't have to be. We'll count down for 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No problem. All right, let's look at process. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get up an image on the screen, and I'm going to tell you, and we're going to look at process. So we've kind of talked about, Chris, you don't know what you want to do. Yeah, you do. Everyone knows what they want to do. If you had the choice to do the thing you really want to do, however weird and wonderful it is, what would it be? Because you do know what you want to do. Just might not be normal. What I do certainly isn't normal. So, what's your dream? So we all know what it is. We've just got to be brave enough to grab it and say it, get it in the world. Okay, so let's look at an image here. So what I want to show you is a process. So what we talked about is that my advice to you is think about the uniqueness of one in terms of what you're selling. And you can all do it, even if you're not willing to say it right now. I promise you. Let's look at an image. So what do people understand by, let's have a look. Yeah, I don't want to scare you with this one, but I'm going to show you anyway. It's not so bad. There you go. Right, can you all see that? It looks a bit overwhelming, but it's not. All right, can you see that? Oh, boink. Can you see that? Lots of colors and stuff. Yeah. Right. So this is my process, and it's on one channel. Which is why I would to encourage you to not. You don't have to be on every channel. Like I say, I hate's too strong a word. I don't want to be on Instagram. I don't want to be. I'm on Facebook for the local groups. You know what I mean? I do not want to spend my life on these platforms. And the fact is, if you believe you have to, you have to. There'll always be an internal tug say, oh, what am I missing out on? If you can choose, because you create your own reality, that something that fulfills you, then do this. So the best way to do it is to teach other people. It just is. All right. So this is my process. All right. I'm on YouTube. That's the only place I am. I run ads on LinkedIn. I run ads on Google for people. I run ads on Facebook. I don't need to do that. I don't want to do that. Certainly don't want to go on LinkedIn. So I'm on YouTube and I'm very happy. And, up to nearly 500,000 views, creating income every single day comes into my bank account. So I'm committed to YouTube. So what I would say is one unique proposition in the world that is unique to you and one channel. And the fact is YouTube is amazing. It's not a short fix. Okay. But it is the thing that can make you blow up. So if you did art, I'm taking whoever I can see, if you did art, you know, art sessions about intuitive art, one of those could get 10 million views, 5 million views. You know, some of my videos get 35,000. Not all of them, but they don't all need to get 35,000. Yeah. So YouTube, and that's to build awareness. Okay. Then people download the Belief Blueprint because I know that's what people need and it's useful. Then they're offered belief breakthrough. All the B's here. Belief breakthrough. Okay, so that's low. That's $37, whatever it is. Then there's sell business, which is what I'm kind of launching next month or so. And then there's this program here, which I'm also launching next month. That's my system, and that's all I do. And if I was creating, like when we were running, doing YouTube channel and doing 4.5 million, we were still on YouTube. We offered people a lead magnet, i.e. something interesting that they would download. We would offer them a low ticket offer to see if they're interested in taking the relationship further. And then we'd have more training. That's it. I'm created a system for somebody who's selling running coaching. He's on YouTube. Actually, he's on Instagram, but he's still doing videos. So videos, he's got to download, exactly the same thing. So it doesn't matter what business you're in, then fundamentally you can make, okay, Chris has said something, radical interruption, everybody. Chris, you want to travel and share with people how beautiful and kind the world is, but I don't know how to do that. By traveling and showing people how kind and beautiful the world is. I would do a TikTok channel or a YouTube channel, if you can, going around the world or interviewing people who have been to amazing places. You could do that. People love that stuff. You know, they really do. So there you go. You can do that if you want to, without doubt. And you would do some kind of video, because that's very video based, isn't it? You know, the top tips from going to Malaga and meeting whatever up there. I mean, you know, I'll subscribe. Sounds great. So YouTube, lead magnet, some kind of offer, smaller offer. It's not too much money. And then you can go, okay, if you're interested, I can go deeper. That is exactly the same process as you might have heard of a sales funnel. This is just, I've turned it up the other way, which is the top. This is all you need to remember, that you've got the top of funnel, which is your audience. Okay, so if you're doing painting, you need people who are interested in painting. If we're promoting the Seth material and the practical application of it, you need people who have probably heard about the Seth material and they love it, but they don't know what the heck to do with it. Yeah. If we're talking about SEO, you need business owners. That's it. So the top of the funnel is where you attract people. You've got to choose how you do that. But when we know that the actual mechanism of marketing is trust, then it leans towards video. That's what it leans toward. Okay. The middle of the funnel, which is where they've downloaded your stuff and gone, well, this is interesting. And they might get an email. You might invite them to a free training, whatever. What you're doing is trying to find people that you want to work with, and you're trying to find people that want to work with you. And that's it, by offering out good information. Yeah, that builds trust and it provides value. You might get 1,000 people in here. You might get 700 in here. You might get 10 people that buy at the other end. Who knows? But this is the system. Okay. Then the bottom of funnel is where they visit your sales page and they decide whether to buy something. That's the process. But as I say, the key is to come up with something that people actually want to buy and something that is unique to you. And often that is the offer. If you can add something into it that people resonate with and go, shit, that's pretty amazing, you know, then people are more likely to want to spend time with you. And ultimately, like I say, what you're looking for Just seeing if there's any questions. Put them in. That's the wrong place. Look in the wrong place. No, there's no questions. Then what you're looking for is 100 people. I love Apple, but I keep on doing it. You want 100 people to pay you £1,000 or 1,000 people to pay you £100 in a year. That should be the goal. There's a really good book called 1,000 True Fans. It's up there somewhere. It's a very tiny book, and it's the goal should be to be so good at what you do, so to care because you do care. So you can't bullshit because everyone can see bullshit a mile off, but because you're naturally interested in the subject and the people that people want to work with you. I have people coming. I mean, I'm lucky. So I had the centre for 10 years. I still have people coming up because I'm still in Hitchin locally. I still have people coming up 10 years later going, are you gonna do any more courses locally? I had it a couple of days ago when I was out for coffee, which I am a lot. So, you know, what I'm saying is be an amazing fish in a smaller pond. But the fact the internet, there's billions of people on it. So you're never going to be in a small pond in the internet. But if you can come up with the offer, understand that this is just the process. And if you are dating, then it's the same. So imagine you go out, you find some people who might be interested in a person like you. You might date a few people. The middle of the funnel, you go out for a few meals. Bottom of the funnel, a year later, hopefully, not too quick, because that always ends in disaster, does mostly. You end up having a long-term relationship that works. So this is why marketing is a human-based business. You've got to be willing to just put the effort in to get things moving and not be afraid to be the same as somebody if it's valuable, and not be afraid to be very different either. Yeah. So let me know, does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Definitely makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we don't want to overcomplicate it. All these systems exist, and I know if you're not into internet marketing or whatever it is, it might seem overwhelming. But all these things exist. It's a matter of putting the jigsaw together, step by step by step. Takes a bit of time, obviously, but okay. So any other questions? What I'm going to say to you is that the next thing you need to do is, which some people hate to do, is stick with it until it works. Lindsay's smiling. Anybody else smiling? I can go there. Can't see anybody else. Yeah. Stick with it till it works. I can tell you something that I will stick something. If I believe in something, and I know because anything can work and I want it to work, I will succeed or die. I will ride or die. I am all in. And the reason that works is because, for example, with the running business that we created, at the minute, we don't know what works with that running business because the guy hasn't run it for 3 months. We've created the system, but people want, immediate results. The problem with that is that we don't know what emails are actually going to work. We don't know the price that's going to work. We don't know anything yet. We know that we've taken our best shot at building the whole system. So, however, with YouTube, now I've had 450,000 views. I know exactly what works. But, that's because I stuck with it, ride or die. So what you want to do is commit, one offer. It may change. You may go, actually, I'm not getting a lot out of that. Maybe if I changed it slightly. And often what you're trying to do is align your energy. Sounds a bit new agey, but you're trying to aim your natural tone. It's a much better way I think about it. To aim your natural tone into the mechanics of a business. They're both mechanical. One is more obvious because it's a sales page and it's an email and it's a lead magnet. Everyone knows what a lead magnet is, when somebody downloads something that they find useful. If not, let me know. So, and then sticking with it. The problem is people don't stick with it. You can make a business out of anything, and it'll either be really successful or it will fail, but you'll only know that. It only fails when you give up. Yeah. Okay. So any questions so far? Oh, it's 9:15. Let's cover any questions. So what I don't want to do is overwhelm you. But Sharon, what's a lead magnet? So a lead magnet is what? Let me show you this. So marketing is, I'm going to share the screen. So if you see here, yeah, what's actually happening here? So we start with 100, then some people aren't interested, and you've got 50 here, and then some people 10 buy something. All right, we'll take the relationship further. What's another word for this? And it begins with F. The next letter is I.
Final.
Say again?
Final.
Filter.
Who said filter?
Filter.
Filter.
It's a filter. That's what it is. So for instance, if you're doing painting, only because it's the one that's right in my head right now, there might be 1,000 people that are interested in painting, but you want people who are willing to go a bit further, who are interested. So a sales funnel is just a filtering system.
Oh.
Yeah. So a lead magnet goes when somebody, and you probably all downloaded them, where you go and watch something or you see something and somebody says, give me your email and I'll give you this thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then what that's doing is that's filtering again. So if somebody says, yes, I want my guide to intuitive painting.
Yeah.
But they never open the email. You don't want to, you want to know that. You want to automate that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do that. What you want is people who, the 7 steps to intuitive painting.
Yeah.
With Sharon. And and what happens is from there, they download the lead magnet, and in there's maybe links to a couple of the YouTube videos you've done or a bit about your history. And then there's an invitation to come on a Zoom talk or watch a video or come or talk to you like on a Zoom call or something.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
And the key is to get enough people in here, say 100, say 1 million, if you're Tony Robbins or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
1 million people come in here, and as you filter down, what happens is people that actually will buy something from you eventually, they just work their way down the funnel. And this can be 7 days. This can take 7 days for somebody to buy something.
Yeah.
Or it can take less. So the fastest I've sold anything for about $20,000 was somebody who'd seen my videos that I'd never spoken to, a hypnotherapist who wanted their business organizing. And they'd seen my videos, they talked to somebody else, I went on the sales call with them, and they signed up within an hour.
Wow.
And the only reason that happens is because they'd seen what I'd done before.
Oh.
So the trust was high.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why marketing is a trust building process.
Yeah. Scene work. Yeah.
Seeing it, liking you, realizing that they'd like to, spend more time. They're interested in the subject. You put things in a way that makes sense to them, and you're also enthusiastic. Well, enthusiasm goes a long way. So this is what it is. If you're doing a YouTube channel, I've got a picture here, sorry, YouTube channel, then I always offer some kind of lead magnet, some kind of, depends on what it is, I've got a few, some kind of lead magnet where people can get introduced, invited to workshops. And if they don't come, they don't come, because it's absolutely cool. Because if somebody goes onto YouTube and doesn't want to take their relationship with me further, then they're not suited for me.
Yeah.
I haven't lost it. Nobody's lost anything. What you're doing is looking for people who are interested in what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you. And I've been scribbling down your business building journey, and I got as far as the first two, but you did say this is recorded. Can we go back
Yeah,
and
yeah. Everyone get the recording. Yeah, of course.
thank you.
And I might send, if I can get the download PDF, I'll send it on. All right.
Fabulous. Yeah, really helpful. Thank you.
Okay. Cool. All right. Let me see what else I've got on my agenda. Bear with me. Yeah, there's a few questions here, and I'll run them through, and then they'll be recorded. Okay. So we talked about. I'll show you, and then we'll do any questions and finish up. So I don't want to overwhelm you. So there's obviously a technical side to this, but there's also a common sense side as well. So here, so you can all see that, yeah, hopefully. So category of 1, which is this obviously me? I know I can do videos on YouTube or I can write stuff, and it's obviously me. You know, I'm happy with my opinion, and you need to be happy with your opinion, for example. So stop competing. How can I say something different? And I can put this in the school group or email this out to people. How can you say something different? Look at your industry. So, you know, Nancy, this is pretty easy, isn't it? You can look at the industry of people taking tablets and people, you know, and you can see why it's broken. Basically, you know, it's a pretty simple point to argue. So probably if you're doing, you can probably do the same with the NLP 7, which is millions of people take NLP and hypnosis and they're no further forward. Why? Well, because it doesn't work, not in the way that people want it to work. So look at your industry, look at who you disagree with and who you agree with, and be willing to say why you understand it differently from somebody else. Yeah, because if you think it's different or that some model is broken, I guarantee a million other people think the same thing. Yeah. So the next question is, what could only come from you? So AI can produce information, they cannot produce you. And that could be that you care more. Do you know what I mean? That you go the extra mile, that you show that you're more open than other people, that you show behind the scenes, whatever it would be, that you're honest, you know, that you're not trying to sell anything to anybody. But if they buy, and that's great. Do you know what I mean? So as we go through it, so consider your experience. I will email this to you. Consider your experience. How many years have you done it? What results have you got? Why? Or what results have other people not got? And why? And then what I would suggest is that you have your own philosophy, which is you name it. You know, the Nancy philosophy for health. Do you know what I mean? The intuitive, whatever. You know, you name it. So I've got the identity field method, which I've been putting together, which is about multidimensional living. Sounds very grand, but that's what it's about, you know. And so that's going to be what I'm kind of going forward with it, and that includes business, a multidimensional way to create anything that you want. So the next one is, what are your contrarian ideas, which are really important. So if you look at your industry and other people are doing something, you know. So I worked with somebody who was in Bahrain. They were doing accountancy. And what we were railing against in his marketing was people like Deloitte, people that were ripping people off financially. And he was able to, having worked for Deloitte, i.e. this huge finance company, he was able to offer an insider's view on it. And that was the unique thing, if you like, that we were doing there. Create your own language, ideas and models and phrases. And then ask yourself, is this, you know, I mean, I was doing a video the other day, I watched it, and it was pretty good, but it wasn't as useful as it could be. So I scrapped it and I did another one. You know, you've got to be willing to be a judge of your own stuff. And then these here, is this a piece of content only I could create, or could AI create this? Could AI create what you're saying? In which case, there's no reason for somebody to go with you. They may as well just learn it off AI. Yeah. So these are the things I would suggest you challenge yourself with. If you do feel overwhelmed, I do understand it, but it's kind of common sense in a way. Yeah. And don't use AI to decide what you think, because it's just regurgitating the internet, isn't it? Okay, so number 8 is, define your category of 1, who you help them achieve what, why your perspective is different, and what ideas you want to be known for. I want to be known for very specific things, and you want to be known for specific things, so that when somebody thinks of Damien or Nancy or Mark or Sharon or Sarah or whatever it is, they go, oh, that's the person that does this, but they're a lot better than the other person, or they care more, or they actually do this extra thing I find really good, whatever it would be. Yeah, why should somebody follow you rather than ask AI? It's a really good question. And there you go, that's the end. Create a category of 1. So I'll email this out to people if you want it.
Please, yes, thank you.
Yeah, that I can honestly say
Yes, please.
what people don't do is the homework. That they want to do all the fancy stuff, then they get annoyed and give up. Okay. If you can put more effort into that than anything else, all the marketing, every single post and video you do is born from that. So if I start working with a company or an individual and we're building their whole system, man, I give them an Excel spreadsheet that they hate at the start. I mean, I go through it with them, but we spend weeks doing that. And then we find that people buy stuff because we front load the effort in terms of finding that uniqueness. All right. Okay, I will email that to you. So I think that's what I've got for you. I'll email you the other things. I am starting a group, which is in school, basically mentoring people how to do this. It's like $500 for the year or something, 540, whatever it is. You want to do that, then we would meet monthly and you'd have all my courses and I would help you through this and everyone would have a one-to-one. I'm only doing 25 because I don't have the time to do one-to-ones for any more than that, frankly, up until Christmas. So I will email you details of that in case you're interested. The goal would be to help you create all the stuff that you want, basically. All right, so that's what I'm doing. I'm not really building funnels for people. Not anymore. Anyway, maybe a few till the end of the year, but that's a kind of higher price thing. But okay, so let's go around. So any questions? You can turn your mic off if you can. Let me know if you've got any questions or any feedback that I can take. Let me know at all, as long as you're happy to say something. So any questions or feedback before we finish up? Yeah, okay, thank you, Mark. Yeah, anybody else? If not, we will call it a day. Sharon, you're welcome. I look forward to seeing what you're doing. And don't create the business for the shaman. Let them do it themselves, frankly. Anyway, Chris, now you've got to figure yourself out first. Don't delay. Life is short.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, we'll call it a day then. Cool. We'll call it a day. I will send you out details. If you do want to do something, that's cool. There's only 25 places by Renee. And it'll be great to work with everybody, people till the end of the year. Well, it's actually a year, but I'm only doing 25 up until this year. All right, then. Okay. We'll call it a day.
Again.
Lots of love,
Take care.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
You can do it and all that.
Thank you.
And I'll email stuff out. All right. Great to meet everybody. All right.
Bye.
Take care. Bye. 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 All right. Bye, Nancy. Bye. See you, Renee.
See you. Bye.